Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Veeam webinar, 8 benefits of a backup service for Microsoft 365. Today, we have Nigel Tan, Senior System Engineer for Veeam, who take care of cloud and service provider for C, will be a presenter for this session. And if anyone have any question, please feel free to drop the question at the question box. The presenter will try to answer your question after the session done. Okay, let's start. I pass to you, Nigel.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nigel. I'm the Senior System Engineer for Veeam. Today, I have the pleasure to talk about the 8 benefits for backup as a service for Microsoft 365. So looking at the start that SaaS data protection may be an afterthought, but looking at the statistics, you realize that SaaS data protections are as crucial as business data protections. So what we do that based on the ESG survey conducted in 2022, it's noticeable that 53% of the organizations has experienced data loss or data corruptions in the SaaS application during that year. And out of that, only 25% of the organizations were able to restore 100% of the SaaS data during an event of actual data loss. So with Veeam, it's possible to achieve 10 times faster recovery in the event of data loss. So what are the common misconceptions? So even though many organizations relate to many reasons for protecting SaaS data, but this is still a very prevalent misconception. The misconception stems from the belief that a backup is not needed because Microsoft takes care of it. In reality, this is much different. With the understanding of Microsoft's shared responsibility model, the reality is that Microsoft only takes care of the infrastructures and uptime via data center to data center redundancy, whereas customer is ultimately responsible for the data. Clearly, it is not only cyber attacks which can cause data loss, but there's other variety of things that might go wrong. And there is strong consensus that among both SaaS administrators and backup administrator, this is truly the case. So topping up the list of cyber attacks naturally, the other considerations like compliance and the need to better restore capabilities and mitigating user errors are all represented. Let's look at the Veeam data protection trending reports. Over the past few years, we are seeing shift of self-managing data centers to outsourcing managed services. So among this trend, you see that you continue to persist. And if by 2026, we are anticipating that many services are likely to be the default options for most of the IT business operations. Let's look at another data trending. So if you look at the top 3 priorities, these are all related to backup operations as a service or be it managed services. So it is clear that majority of the organizations has already deployed IT backup operations in the cloud. If you look at the top priority, and second priority, we're looking at more and more organizations are planning and considering backup as a service as part of the IT managed services. So it can be through the means of best provider or through SaaS offerings. So another consideration for backup as a service could be the ease of use, enhanced user experience when it comes to backup and restorations. So looking at the rest of priorities, we are also looking at a lot more of the use cases pertaining to data protections that encompass around SaaS. and not just SaaS, but infrastructure as well. So, but I'm not going to delve into that for the today's sessions. So we have gone through the overview of what the landscape and the pretext of backup services. So I'm going to talk about more about how more organizations are more than ever to discover the value of how to protect Microsoft 365 data. So let's face it, deciding how do you want to back up the data can be a real challenge. Cloud-based backup services are quickly becoming the most popular option for Microsoft 365, and there is a good reason for it. So today, I will help you to understand the 8 major benefits of using backup services for Microsoft 365. So when you look at it is, let's go that, okay. So an effective IT team is always the one that is responsible for large and complex area of tasks. So that could be encompassed across the traditional backup environments. So items such as effective management, regular maintenance, robust security measures that include timely fixes, patches, Windows update, or OS patches are key to successful backup strategy. So when we look at that, is that not only these responsibilities are essential, but they are perpetual. The thing is that you can't just set it and forget it when it comes to data protections. Uh, the whole concept is that there is a continuous effort to optimize, check, and patching and updating process in the environment that could be that includes infrastructure, server, hardware, storage, applications, all the way to the process management. So that perhaps provide insights that less than 25% of the organization will only manage to recover their M365 data during an actual event of data loss. The diagram which you are seeing now shows a simple overview of the main jobs and the components needed for effective backup strategy. So based on your backup strategy, you can decide whether which of these that you wish to intend to manage in-house, what can be done for you. So there are 3 models. In short, there are 3 models. So what we are seeing here is that backup services are created with a key tenet in mind: simplicity through backup services, complexity which are managed by experts like us, so that you no longer have to worry about maintenance, infrastructure, scalability, the security, and expertise, which we require a pool of people to maintain and upkeep your infrastructure continuously. So everything an IT team needs to implement in a backup solutions can be accessed via web browser, done through an intuitive user interface that is designed to work in your environment. Yeah, so there are 3 models. So it can be a self-deploy, login, managed services, or through the SaaS provider, best provider, sorry. So second benefits, what you're looking at is one of the worst headache is when deploying backup software is just to get it off the ground, meaning to get it started. Sometimes it might not be as straightforward, especially if your environment is complex. So from setting up and maintaining the infrastructure to selecting and associating the storage infrastructure to the hardware infrastructure to the virtual infrastructure, coordinating with the applications, stakeholders, database, DBA, or even the backup admins. From there, hoping that everything set up is correctly when you do through the first backup is always not the case. So there are simply too many building blocks and also critical functions to get it right every time. Enterprise usually will require high capacity storage systems backup servers, networking equipments, which all these harbor a steep learning curve and must be reconfigured and scaled as the organization grows. And this must not be reconfigured and scaled. Mentioned that the backup and security software must be correctly configured and licensed for this to work in place. So there's basically a lot of working parts that need to be gelled properly before you can basically consider a working system. Whereas for backup service vendors, we deliver the instant setup experience. All you need to do is to log in and link the backup services to your Microsoft 365 environment. And within minutes, you are already creating your first backup jobs. So there is really a minimum or probably no need to worry about connecting all the infrastructures together to ensure that the solutions are working functionally correctly. So this reduces the chance of setup errors, ensuring a quick and seamless backup deployment. So the whole idea is set it, forget it, and move on. It's just as simple as that. How about the third benefits when you look at the time and money saved? When we talk about that, it's always about the budgetary constraints, shrinking resources, and tight deadlines are usually the most daunting challenges for IT departments today. Being able to do more with less is probably the most important KPI that most organizations are expected to adopt. The unfortunate truth is that the IT department, more than the other of the departments, are expected to adapt and bear most of the IT operations. So question to many of you, how can I relieve or how can you relieve the pressure put on your IT team without sacrificing time, money, and resources? So with a simple way, cloud-based backup services, organization can easily shift the focus away from acquiring specialized experts to manage complex backup infrastructures. With the simplicity of SaaS solutions, any team member within the IT organization will probably not required to adopt sophisticated skills to create simple backup or data restorations if needed. As such, the traditional method of maintaining arrays of on-premises servers, or be it on cloud, or be it on virtualizations platform, and even include the storage systems. And this usually involve the operation skills as well, and costs associated is usually minimized. Backup vendors like us will take up the heavy duty technical responsibility for hardware and the upkeep, so that your IT team can really focus on other essential business operations. With a backup services in place, all what you do is you only pay for what you use. So basically, it's very aligned with the OPEX model. So what's going to happen is that organizations who adopted backup services will not waste money on underused or underinvested resources. So in this case, you'll realize that all the unpredictable fluctuating expenses of in-house operating expenses will become foreseeable based on the subscription model that you can deploy on. So as a backup services, we talk about all inclusion services, and when we mention that, it's all about when organizations self-manage their backup. Usually they have to manually piece everything together, which includes storage servers, operating systems, application, database, a lot more. That includes signing up extensive list of ongoing management tasks. So to keep the backup systems running effectively. Most important, other than the infrastructure, the process is also as equally as important to address the SLA when it comes to data protections. So this can potentially increase risk of misconfigurations, and other oversights. Backup service vendors are able to deliver all the components needed to deploy and run an efficient data protection strategy for Microsoft 365. All operational components is already secured, deployed, and available, so organizations don't have to do any heavy lifting or manual configurations. Through an all-inclusive services, backup vendors offers a level of simplicity and convenience that cannot be achieved by self-managed backup. These diagrams shown in the slides contrast the comprehensive nature of what a backup vendor supplies in their services with the elements managed by the user. So if you look at the left-hand side of the box, this is where a backup vendor will take care of the components. So that includes the server infrastructures, the software that powers the data protections process, the networking, infrastructure management, maintenance management, patching, updates, and security, etc. So this is where it will be taken care by the backup service vendor. So whereas you as the IT organizations, you can actually control how do you want to manage your data protection strategy based on your KPI and SLA. So you have the ability to create jobs and perform restorations and perform e-discovery to do search and restore. So these services often comes with predictable cost structures, turning unpredictable capital expenses into stable, scalable operating expenditure. So ultimately, leveraging a dedicated backup services for Microsoft 365 allow your organization to boost your data resiliency with greater efficiency. So and scale as needed without the constraint of hardware constraint. So you can rest assured that your data is safeguarded by the latest in security and compliance features. So what are the things that you can consider is to customize your backup all the way to having the access control to determine who can do this and who can do that. And these are basically the optional configurations that you can manage within the backup services. I'm sure this is quite interesting for most of you. So what are the fifth benefit is that there is a lot of emphasis on data growth. So what we see here is that data generation has been growing exponentially and will continue to do so. So what we mean here is that organizations are always seeking backup solutions that can keep pace with their growing data needs. So preferably without incurring prohibitive costs or overwhelming costs and burdens. So there are no storage plans with a cloud-based backup services. Organization can expand without worrying about the physical limitations of backup infrastructure or the need to invest in additional storage hardware. So to mention that the backup vendors can also offer unlimited, highly scalable storage options to business who experience unpredictable data growth or fluctuations. The basis of cloud storage, unlike traditional solutions, can be scaled up or down per the demands of the business. With unlimited storage, organizations can consume as much as they need at a fixed cost. So that's wonderful. So in most cases, Microsoft 365 backup vendors offer unlimited retention policies where you can have no predefined limit on the length of the time the data can be stored. Companies and organizations are freed from the cumbersome task of micromanaging data lifecycle and the risk of premature data deletions. So you don't really need to consider the data retention because of the constraint of the storage. And all these are eliminated. For those organizations who needs or desire to retain data for extended period of time, whether for compliance, legal, or analytical purposes, can do so without any worries. Having to say that, what other benefits that backup service vendor can provide in terms of the security and maintenance? So right now, we have discussed a number of promising benefits offered by backup vendors. So at the beginning of the presentation, we see that 53% of the organizations face data loss or corruptions in the SaaS applications. So however, these benefits are only worth it if maintenance and security is as good or better than self-managed solutions. Backup service vendors take massive strides to ensure that all your data is secure enough and to ensure that there is a highest degree of business continuity possible. Backup are encrypted in transit and at rest so that any intercepted or compromised data remains unreadable and secure from external cyber threats. Backup data are also typically have a service level immutability, whereby the data is located in a virtually air-gapped environment hosted by the backup vendor. So when we also mention that, we have to actually emphasize that the data is isolated and decoupled from Microsoft 365 environment as well as customer environment. So with the backup infrastructure services in place, data is not only scalable, but highly available. By leveraging on storage solutions, backup vendors often maintains multiple backup copies in separate disks that are dispersed across multiple data centers. This ensures that the data durability and redundancy remains crucial part of the data lifecycle. Sorry, there's some technical issues. Having to say about the security within the solutions, we also have to consider the process and the external. So what we often hear, data breaches and compliance failures can lead to significant financial penalties and reputational damage. So it involves the status of the organization when it comes to data protections. Adhering to strict compliance standards and certifications are not optional. These are often enforced by law, depending where your organization is and depending on the compliance and the legal regulations defined in your country respectively. The means of backup services are specifically designed to meet the highest bar set by regulatory frameworks across various types of industries and regions. The purpose of that is that backup vendors always subject their services to rigorous audits and frequently verify compliance with mandatory regulations such as and standards such as like CCPA, GPDR, HIPAA, SOX, and other industry-specific mandates. So these audits are very crucial in maintaining transparency, trust, and the demonstration of a vendor's commitment to uphold the highest security and compliance standard. So in that case, business can trust that their backup solutions is compliant by design, and this is a mandate for backup service vendor to the organization out there. So the scope of these backup services extend across to every applications within Microsoft 365. So this becomes a unified backup solutions that easily handles the data safeguarding and restorations of specific objects. The protection encompass mailbox or calendars in Exchange Online, SharePoint online sites, OneDrive for business, files and folders, Microsoft Teams posts, tabs, and channel posts, and more. So this ensures that none of the critical data is left unprotected. So this is what a purpose-built backup for Microsoft 365 look like to improve the backup speed, precise data recovery, and an overall reduction in your backup environment footprint, basically almost zero. Through holistic and handcrafted backup solutions, organizations can leverage the full potential of Microsoft 365 without compromising data protections. So let us introduce Veeam Data Cloud for Microsoft 365. There are multiple ways to protect Microsoft 365 with Veeam. And first of all, we have the Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365, which is a software-only offerings where you can easily deploy in your own environment, manage, choose your infrastructure of your choice that could be on-prem or in cloud, and manage internally within your organizations. You can have the Veeam, we can also offer through the new backup services through Veeam Data Cloud for Microsoft 365, truly a SaaS offerings that the backup infrastructure is 100% managed by Veeam. And thirdly, you can also leverage on any of your Veeam preferred Veeam service provider to manage the backup services for you. So with Veeam Data Cloud for Microsoft 365, you'll get areas of benefits such as the trusted industry-leading technology that ensure that the most comprehensive data protection solutions over a decade of continuous innovation that is built to scale. So you can have the easily created, you can easily create backup jobs, perform data restorations, and access to Microsoft 365 insights from within a modern GUI console. So everything is included that includes software, the backup infrastructures, the compute resources, unlimited storage bundled together with the ongoing maintenance and the security coverage by the experts that is maintaining our systems. As we move on, we reckon that Microsoft 365 data is difficult to back up and even more difficult to manage. All this demands strategic investments in the sophisticated backup infrastructures, disaster recovery planning, and a deep understanding of Microsoft 365 platform. The key is that Veeam Data Cloud for Microsoft 365 enables radical resilience for Microsoft 365 data. So with a modern twist, the industry-leading Microsoft 365 backup solution can be now delivered as a service. So by means of simplifying your backup strategy with software, backup infrastructure, and unlimited storage in all-in-one cloud services that allow you to leverage powerful data protections and security technology within a simple and seamless user experience. So Veeam Data Cloud, or VDC for short, for Microsoft 365 is a backup services, and it also provides the comprehensive data protections and data recovery for areas of all the applications in Microsoft 365. That includes Microsoft Exchange, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for business teams, giving you complete control of your Microsoft 365 environment. So without further ado, I will go through a demo to let you to see to have a feel of seeing is believing and how it works. So right now, I'm in the landing page of the BDC M365 console. So everything is web-based. So what you're seeing here is the glance of the Microsoft 365 tenants that is protected by BDC. So you will see intuitive informations about the backup status, what are the users that have been protected, and a summary of the backup retention that we configured that includes the licensing activity, the backup protection licenses management, as well as a top trending of who are the heavy user of the Microsoft 365 storage usage. So you have the options to perform recovery of the 4 applications which I have mentioned earlier on: Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams. And besides that, there are also options for you to navigate around for audit purpose, to check what is going on, who did what, and what they have done. If anyone has performed any restorations, preview, or performing tasks, the user activity will be tracked and monitored. So what we are seeing here is the activities that has been tracked and audited. So creating a backup job is basically straightforward. But before that, the first thing you need to do is to associate the M365 tenant to VDC, and that has been done beforehand. For this demo purpose, I will show you what are the functions that are available in VDC. So you have the role-based access control to define who can do this and who can do what, and that is strictly down to segregation of responsibility. User admin, they can pull the user. You can define the user, admin user, based on manually, or you can assign role based on AD groups. So you have the billing informations, and I'm not going through that in depth. And let us go back to the how to easily configure backup jobs. So what we're going to do here is, okay, we'll create a simple backup job. Let's call it benefits of backup services as change backup. Choose a retention period. You can keep you can choose from a minimum of a year to 25 years or forever. So let's put 3 years, for example. So you can choose to back up the full organizations with some exclusions, or you can choose to have variables backup policies that define based on needs. So from here, you can see that there is option for you to select M365 users based on groups, SharePoint sites, teams. So we can easily choose the users as you like to, or select from all. Or you can choose to select groups that you have pre-created in M365. Okay, so I'll probably create a job for this, and I can create another job for SharePoint. So set the scheduling to based on your needs. So I prefer 24 hours. So when you create a job, I'll let it run. So basically, you can go here, go back to the main menu, and what we are seeing here is that all these jobs are already being created in the demo environment. So at any point of time, you can actually check the backup status, the history, and what's going on. So basically, you can take a look at any of the backup jobs that has been run, executed. So you can view the logs and check the status. So one is protected. So basically what you can do is you can perform restorations under our using the web console to perform restorations. So under the Outlook options, where you can choose to restore, there's multiple options for you to restore. Let's see. So you can choose to select the point in time based on the selection of the schedule that you intend to, based on the time that, based on the date and timestamp that you intend to restore. Okay. So in any chance, if if something has been deleted, you can turn on these options. Sorry. Okay, so at any point in time, you can choose to restore. And this is very easy. All you need to do is just go in to perform a restorations. So there's some, yeah. So basically, so what you're looking here is a preview. Of course, depending on the roles that you're assigned to, um, you might not be able to see the preview. So it all depends on the roles that's assigned. So you can easily do a so-called restorations with advanced options. Now restore to different mailbox or download to local computer. So this is the overview of how you can do a perform basic backup. You can do a perform you can perform a basic backup and restorations. So we do also have the search from e-discovery options that allow you to search restorations based on certain keyword and criteria. Because I know that sometimes there are a lot of objects and emails to search from. So sometimes it's better to just search from, leverage on e-discovery. So how it does here is you probably can contains test. So you can add list, or if you have more, you can add the more list and just start a search. And what happened here is the e-discovery process will start in the backend. So once it's ready, then you can proceed to view the result. Let me see what other result can have. Yeah, so example, so these are some of the historical e-discovery that's performed based on certain previous search. So what's going to happen here is you can choose data that has been the search result for restorations. So this is exactly the same process that I did earlier. How do you perform restorations? And just do a restore, and that's it. Okay, so all notifications will be viewed here. So what's going to happen here is you can see that I'm going back to the settings where you can see, look at the roles that can define based on what are the responsibility that the IT admin are supposed to have. So they may be just a backup operators. They don't perform restorations, or you can assign to certain admin users that are responsible for their own departments. It could be for audit purpose, auditors where they can just come in and view reports, but they can't do anything. So you can define the roles as you need to. Okay, so that's part of the demo. Let's go back to the slides. So I hope everyone has a quick glance of how VPC for M365 looks like and how simple it is to operate. So I'm going to provide some takeaways before I come to the end of the sessions. So just get your QR scanners ready, could be on mobile phone. And if you like this session or you want to continue to read about what are the 8 benefits of backup services for Micro 365, you can always just scan the QR code to download the ebook online and take your time to read during your free times. Take a look and read it. You can also request a demo by scanning this QR code. It will bring you to a link. So if you want to try out, do a demo, or you want to have a Veeam representative in your region to reach out to you and also to demonstrate to you about the function, the features, and the capabilities in that, you can always do so. So just scan the QR code, make an appointment. And for some of you who wanted to see VDC for M365 in action, you want to get around with a Walnut to have experience interactive walkthrough how the whole process looks like. This is where you can access to the Walnut environment where you can navigate and have an understanding of how VDC for M365 feels and operates like. So without further ado, I'll open the session for Q&A. If any questions or you have any doubts, you can always feel free to post your questions in the Q&A box. So I will leave it to about 5 minutes to 10 minutes for any participants or attendees to post your questions in this webinar. Thank you.
Hi, Nigel. Thank you. So I saw that there's some question in the question box. So you want to answer it live or you want me to?
Sure, we'll be happy to address it live since we have some time left.
Okay. Okay, the first question is, will backup M365 data will be stored and saved in cloud storage?
Yes, so basically this is the model where the backup data will be stored in a Veeam hosted cloud infrastructures that is secured by the VDC. So basically, yes, in short, the data is stored in the cloud, secured by Veeam.
Okay, the second question is, how often does the backup sync with Microsoft 365?
Are you referring to how often can VDC backup Microsoft 365?
I don't know, that's the question. Maybe yes.
Yeah, sorry, Pete, I'm not able to see the questions, maybe because I'm a presenter, that's why.
Okay. So the question is just, how often does the backup sync with Microsoft 365?
It can be 4 hourly, 8 hourly, or daily. So by default, you can configure the backup frequency based on this timing. So by default, it's 24 hours. If you would like to run as frequent as 8 hours or 4 hourly, that can be done through either the console itself or through our support request.
Okay. So the next one, will this deck be sent to us after the presentation? Yes. Yeah. The deck will be sent after this. The next question, how do you manage performance when Microsoft has throttling in place for bulk data copy?
That's a very good question. So in the aspect of Microsoft 365 throttling, there is always a good practices to ensure that there is ways to manage. So we can manage through the way through support route to ensure that there is sufficient proxy or alternate proxy internally to retrieve data from Microsoft 365, or you can disable EWS throttling for mailbox. So there are different approach and strategy to ensure that the data protections are managed efficiently. Sometimes it's inevitable to avoid throttling, especially when it comes to large SharePoint sites backup. So you might have to be very specific about certain sites or probably manage progressively. Yeah. I hope that addressed the questions.
Okay, the next one, is it possible to password protect the restore activities?
At this juncture, all data are encrypted and decrypted, so there is probably not means to say password protected, but alternatively, you can assign specific administrators to perform restoration or prevent the restore operators to perform downloads to their computer. So that means only the right administrator with the sufficient privilege can only restore back to the original location. That could be SharePoint sites, or that could be OneDrive, or that can be Mailbox.
What happens if cloud fail?
We ensure that there is a 99.9% SLA uptime. So like in any case, customers' data backup will always be available. As mentioned earlier on, the backup data have redundancy copies that is managed in the cloud platforms. So in any point of time, there will not be any data loss because there is multiple copies that is safeguard against single site data loss.
Okay, and this is the last question regarding to PDPA, how to ensure data is not read by anyone, then the requester of the information recover.
Okay, so basically we do have the data processing attendant to ensure that the data privacy are safely heavily secured in terms of the process internally. So at any point of time, there is no way that the data will be viewed or accessed by any of the staff or operators. So we have a strict and stringent audit process for it. So for more information, we do have the Veeam Data Cloud Attendant to explain about the data processing blueprints and informations.
Okay, that's all for the question from the question box.
Yeah, happy to address this because I love having to, you know, I will enjoy actually having the participation from the attendees, and it's very glad to hear and, you know, seeing questions from the attendees.
Yes, that's great. Okay, if we don't have any more questions, so we can end the session. So thank you everyone to attend our webinar. Yeah, and then hope to see you again
everyone
in the next.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.